Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the 2024 edition and the first edition of the Next Commerce Summit. In 2019, indeed. In 2019, Ask Phil, the organizer of this event, saw that the D2C space had really started to grow. And they wanted to bring companies and people together and thus organized the D2C Summit. Now, after 5 years, please take your seats. After 5 years of successfully organizing the D2C Summit, this event is expanding its scope to explore the entire commerce landscape and to really double down on the commitment to explore the future of commerce. Hence, the new name, Next Commerce Summit. And we are here, or we will be here in a moment, with 400 people from around the world, and all of you are working tirelessly to build either incredible brands or the impactful, user-friendly, easy tools to help grow those incredible brands. My name is Irene. I have the honor of being your host today, and in preparation for this event, I thought of my own connection to e-commerce. In 2012, I moved to San Francisco to expand a Dutch company called Dapper. Many Dutchies here will know it. It's a reusable water bottle. And in my first year in the US, the thing I really struggled with at the time was, are we going to put our bottles on Amazon? Because we were afraid that it would maybe hurt the brand's image. But after some research, we saw that in the US, even the most exclusive brands were on the platform. And this was my first lesson in e-commerce, was the importance of meeting your customer where they are at. But there is a lot for me to learn, so I'm really excited to explore this day of unified commerce together with you. Because during this first edition of the Next Commerce Summit, we're going to dive all into unified commerce. Now, most of you will know what unified commerce is, as well as you know your own name. But for the newbies in the room, there's a shift happening from omni-channel, which is bringing together your on and offline channels, to unified commerce, which is basically bringing everything together, your socials, your payments, and your on and offline stores. And during this event, we're going to dive deep into unified commerce. You'll find out how unified commerce is reshaping the industry, and you'll meet with brands who will explain how they are already successfully integrating a unified commerce, share their insights, their stories, and real-life examples. We have a really amazing lineup of speakers, but that's not the most important thing of this event, because equally important to Ask Phil is the fact that we are here with a community of you, builders, doers, lovers in e-commerce that have come from all over the world to meet each other, to learn from each other, and most of all, to connect, because there is still so much to learn from each other, and there's enough room to grow together. So welcome again to the Next Commerce Summit. We are super happy that you are here. And today will really be all about this community and interaction, and after all the sessions that take 30 minutes, there's room for questions. Now, I hope that we can create an atmosphere in which you all feel comfortable and welcome to ask all the questions that you have. And so to get started by getting to know each other a little bit more, I'd like to ask a few questions to you, and I want to ask you to stand up if this applies to you. Let's start easy. Who's been to a D2C summit before? Can you stand up if you've been to a D2C summit before? Okay, I would say about half of the room. Thank you. You can sit down again. Maybe a silly question, but let's see. Who has come here all by themselves? Who doesn't know anyone in this room? Okay, everyone, please look at these people. Let's applaud these people. And let's make sure that we acquaint you and make you comfortable in this community. Welcome. Thank you. Okay, who has flew in to be here today? Boom. Wow. I think about 20%. A super warm welcome to you. Thank you so much. Okay, now I have a statement. I'm curious. Who here says, I am confidently owning the space of unified commerce? Oh, interesting. Okay, I had not expected this. I was getting my microphone to do a little interview. No one here says they're already confidently owning. Okay, well, then my other statement is I'm still learning how to optimize my unified commerce strategy. I expect everyone to stand up now. Can I ask someone, why are you here? What are you trying to get out of today? Is there anyone who wants to volunteer? And otherwise, I'm going to just walk up to people, but I don't want to put someone on the spot. No? Can I ask you? Yes. What's your name and what's the company that you work for?
I'm Tessa, and I work for Oat Granola.
Oat Granola?
Yes.
And what made you come to this event?
I'm a brand manager, and I'm really curious. I was here last year, and I was really inspired by all the other stories about other brands and how they apply it. So that's why I'm here again.
Super. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I ask one more person? What brings you to this conference? Can I ask you? Yeah, you with the hat.
I thought I'd get away with that, sorry.
Could you stand up for a moment? What's your name and the organization you work for?
Yeah, so I work for a company called Yotpo, and my name's Tom.
Yotpo, are you
Yes.
part of the program, of course?
I am today, yeah.
Is that why you're here, or is there a special something that you're looking forward to aside of the Yotpo sessions?
Outside of marketing sending me here, of course, we wanted to learn a little bit more about what brands are doing from a unified standpoint.
That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Speaking of the program, we are here in the main stage, but the program spans 3 stages. Oh, sorry. I'm too soon. My apologies, because before I say anything more, I want to introduce you to one of the leading people at Ask Phil. Last year, he was the host of this event after he had just joined the company only 2 weeks prior to that day. He had transitioned from PR to e-commerce at the time because the co-founders of Ask Phil wanted to take a step back and they really looked for somebody to run the company. Rens brings his expertise from advertising as well as e-commerce, and he blends the two together in his role as the commercial director of Ask Phil. Please welcome Rens Scheppers. Maestro.
Thank you.
Hi.
Well, that's a warm welcome. Thank you
That's a
very
warm
much.
welcome, yeah. Can you tell us, you are the organizer of this event.
Yes, we are.
For those who don't know, who is Ask Phil?
I think a lot of you know, but Ask Phil is a Shopify Plus agency. We are with 60 professionals working for inspiring brands. That's what we love in the fashion and lifestyle and beauty industry.
Speaking of fashion, I was dressed by one of your brands, Vanilla. I just want to do a shout out.
They're still in line outside, by the way. I just met them.
Oh, they're standing in line
There is
still.
still a line
okay.
outside, so sorry for that. And that's who we are. Yeah, we love to work for inspiring brands such as Tony Chocolonely, Filling
Also part of the program,
Pieces,
yep.
Vanilla, but also Pata and Filaretti, lots of big brands.
And what is the core of what you do?
We build, optimize, and maintain Shopify Plus stores.
Right.
Yep, platforms.
And you organize this conference. It's the 6th edition.
Yes.
Why are you organizing this conference?
Well, this started 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Pretty small. Martijn was still running. I think you were running the first edition, right? And we started because we thought there is a huge demand for getting together, sharing knowledge. The D2C e-com industry wasn't that mature by then. And that's also actually still the reason why we do this, to bring people together, to make sure that everybody is inspired and connected and learns from today. So that's why we do it. And that mission is still super relevant today.
Great. And you're not doing it just by yourselves?
No, we have a lot of partners, of course.
Yeah.
I think you will hear their names. But the most important ones are Shopify, Klaviyo, Adyen, Voyado, Yotpo, and Gorgias. And they will also speak. And this day wouldn't be possible without them. So many thanks for that.
Great. And last question to you, Rens. What do you hope will come out of today?
Ooh, well, I just mentioned like what the goal of this day is, right? So if I see people being connected, inspired, happy to be here, returning next year, that's exactly what I would wish for today. So that's also the invitation for all of you today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Rens,
You.
warm round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking now of the program, we are now in the main stage, but the program takes place on 3 stages. So in a moment, we're going to kick off with a session that just takes place here. But after the session, you can choose what sessions you'd like to go to most. There is also the innovation room and the growth room on the 2nd floor. And if you want, you can download the Next Commerce app. In it, you'll find the program, you'll find a floor map, and you'll also find the opportunity to connect to the people who are in this audience. Now, we end our day together here, all together, with something something special and new at 5, which are the Next Commerce Awards, which are a celebration of innovation and excellence in the D2C commerce space. But more on that later. I think we're ready for our first session. Our first session is hosted by 2 organizations, and so will all of the sessions. Now, I came back from my holiday last week. I went to Portugal for 2 weeks. I could bring 10 kilos of hand luggage, and do you know what more than 10% of the luggage's weight consisted of? 6 Tony Chocolonely chocolate bars. In this next session, we're going to meet Mark, the head of digital and e-commerce at Tony's, which is probably one of the most popular brands of chocolate in the Netherlands. And we'll meet Martijn, the co-founder of Ask Phil. Now, why is Ask Phil called Ask Phil? Because after starting his career at Heineken, Martijn wanted a change. It was around 2016, and he traveled to China with his friend Paul to go to the largest trade fair in China. Now, most of you who have been to China will know that Google is behind a firewall, so they needed other guidance when they traveled around the city. And who came to the rescue? A super helpful hotel manager, a great guy called Phil. And they could ask Phil everything, just like they knew D2C brands could ask them anything. The 2 friends became co-founders, and they immediately knew what to call their company, Ask Phil. Around the same time, in 2016, Mark joined Unilever. After a decade of experience in digital marketing in various companies, Unilever brought him a challenge on a new scale. During his time there, he successfully launched and scaled the Unilever Professional brand, which is a B2B initiative, and he scaled it across 5 key markets online during the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2022, he transitioned to Tony Chocolonely's, where he oversees the company's focus on technology-driven unified commerce. In this session, the 2 of them will talk about how Tony's strategy for integrating unified commerce is successful and how that strategy supports the company in its mission to 100% slave-free chocolate. Please welcome Martijn Wijsmuller and Mark Howard.
That's true.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you.
So, Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Have a seat.
We've seen each other before, but good to see you here.
Yeah, good to see you again. Good to see everyone here today. Excited to be here. Super excited everyone is here as well. I heard some people are still queuing up to get in. But great to kick off the day together with you, Mark.
I beat the queue.
Yeah.
I purposely didn't tell you this before we were sat in a room earlier. We didn't come to this event last year because we were still flirting around, are we going to go with Ask Phil or not? So after a big year and after what's been a really challenging year, it's great to be sat here with you.
Yeah, good to have you here.
Thanks.
Yeah, so maybe before we start, indeed, like you're saying, last year around this time we were in conversations. Tony's came to us and spoke, told us what they want to achieve. They want to be the most conscious, most personalized chocolate gifting platform out there globally. They have big ambitions. And their stack back then was heavily customized, different systems, and you had the ambition to unify it, simplify it, but also make it easier for the teams to work with it and to scale efficiently. Like you said, it was a challenging project.
Yeah, how long have we got?
It was around 9-10 months.
Yeah.
But I think if we look at what we have achieved in unifying your B2C, your B2B, your wholesale channels, marketplaces to a single Shopify store, that's
a huge achievement.
That's quite exciting in 12 different languages, different currencies.
Yeah.
And I think everyone here is quite curious to hear what's your favorite chocolate bar?
All right, start with the hard questions. It changes, and at the moment it's the everything bar. It has everything in it, which is probably a bit of a cheat. But yeah, it's changing. It's changing month on month still. I've been at Tony's for 2 years, and I still need to work my way through all the flavors.
Yeah, Yeah, I also have to admit I ate a lot of chocolate during the project, prior to the project to get into the brand.
Yeah.
But at their
It's good
office they
research.
have a chocolate vault, and it's like a dream. After you had a meeting, we were always allowed to go into the chocolate vault to grab some bars and taste the new flavors.
Yeah.
And just before we got on stage, we were talking about one of the quite exciting initiatives probably nobody in this room, or almost nobody, knows about.
Yeah.
That's the Tony's Open Chain. So besides the brand, you have obviously the slave-free supply chain,
Yeah.
but you're also selling that to partners.
Indeed, and there's the kind of elevator pitch of that is Tony's really started to raise awareness around one cause, and that was a broken supply chain for chocolate. And there's three big pillars to how we grow Tony's. One is raising awareness, and we've continued to do that now for 20 years. The second is lead by example, so that's actually showing that you can source ethically, that you can do it at scale and still grow your brand efficiently. And then the final one is inspire to act, and that's our open chain business, and that's telling everyone who wants to build a chocolate brand or sell chocolate, we've got a way you can do it. Get on board, buy the beans in our way, and we'll make sure that you can also go from bean to bar fully traceable. So this year's been pretty big. We've just launched, I think it was around a month ago now, comms to say that we're now going to be sourcing all of Mr. Beast's beans, which doubles our volume this year. So we're making 2 times as much impact just by bringing them on board.
That's very big.
Yeah, yeah. And then for the Dutchies, we've also so Albertijn have been with us actually. I think they were one of our first partners, and they've just agreed to source all of their chocolate through us, not just a small selection, but anything that's made by them, they will be producing through our open chain. So yeah, a really big year, and continues to be a really big focus for the business.
Great, congrats.
Thank you.
And if we zoom in on your commerce business, and especially e-commerce, can you tell a bit more about the current state and the ambitions Tony's has for the coming years?
Yes, I think that we're in good shape, and I think before we moved over to Shopify, we had a pretty solid business in place. We launched, I think, or not launched, but we had 1 million orders go through our system since launching 15 years ago. So we've been around doing this for a while.
Yeah.
But we've been doing a lot of that business in the Netherlands, and over the last few years, we've really been trying to establish how do we grow, how do we make sure that we can grow and scale efficiently in other markets. And one of the first questions that I wanted to get to the bottom of when we looked at, do we have the right tech stack? Do we have the right strategy in place to be able to scale, is what systems will allow us to do that? And we were getting to the breaking point of our custom tech stack, and that then initiated the project to figure out what's next.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially so usually when we look at projects, we say 80% is the same, and then 20% is unique to the brand. I think in Tony's case that was also true, maybe a little bit more custom, but I think the interesting part is that you have, for your online commerce, you have your B2C, you have your B2B, and you have your resellers. Can you tell a bit more about that, like channel mix and the strategy behind that, and why that's important for Tony's?
Yeah, so I think we start with the fact that the biggest part of our business is our personalized bars, and that's really what we focus. We focus on innovation around how we grow personalized. When we're launching in new markets, it's the first thing that we look at. How do we build the right infrastructure so that we can personalize bars? And just for those that maybe haven't experienced it or are kind of new to Tony's, it's a full custom wrap around our standard bars. You can design the bar in any way, shape, form that you like. But for us, we have that as our leading, like, number one product. And that is both for businesses and consumers. So there we're trying to define a journey and build a journey that works for both. Yep. And then the second biggest part, and tends to be bigger when we launch in a new market and diminishes in its overall role and strategy, is the reseller, the reseller part of the site. And again, for us, it's not a bolt-on. It's a really important part of our overall experience. But we really prioritize thinking about our personalized business first and making sure that we have a really strong flow system in place to be able to personalize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was funny when we started talking about the project, I didn't realize how big the chunk of B2B custom wrapper chocolate sales were, where, as an example, a company would come to you to order 1,000 bars customized for their employees to give with either onboarding or holidays.
Yeah, it's a really, for us, we call it a great medium to tell a story, and it's a great medium for us to be able to tell our story at scale as well. Yeah. So it's a win-win. You can customize the full wrapper, but there is still that piece around who is Tony's. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you open a Tony's bar that you've got a Tony's bar, but it still gives us an opportunity to tell our story. And that is an important part when you're living as a brand online. How do you make sure that touch point still exists in the hand of a consumer where they don't have that in retail? So for us, personalized, it's a great medium for both personal storytelling, but also for us to tell a story as a brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the different channels, what are the main challenges you see in having to maintain these different sales channels and directing the energy of you and the team?
The biggest challenge that we have right now is we're rolling out both new systems as well as scaling in markets. So it's ensuring that we have systems that work, which has been one of the biggest priorities for us moving over to Shopify, making sure that old systems translate effectively to Shopify's ecosystem. But then also making sure that our markets and teams are able to use these tools quite effectively as well. So for us, there's a big focus at the moment, especially as this migration started going live this summer, that we both roll it out, but also make sure that we have a good system in place for teams, local teams, to be able to use it to its maximum potential.
Yeah. It was also interesting of this project that usually you have a deadline with the project. And it has various reasons, but this year I learned about chocolate season, and that starts at the end of the year for holidays, and it's especially after summer, because during summer it's quite hard to send chocolate, because it probably melts if it's too warm during summertime. So that was also
it definitely melts in chocolate time in summertime. Sorry, yeah.
So there was an important deadline for this project. And I think, like I said, it was a challenging project. Yeah. It was a big project. What did you find the most challenging of the migration, or what?
The biggest challenge we had is moving. So, e-com has been part of Tony's life for the last 10 to 15 years. You have a lot of legacy systems. You have a lot of legacy processes. We also have systems that are very well integrated into our business. So although we were reaching maximum capacity on a custom build, we had to bring over a lot of that into the Shopify ecosystem as well. So for us, it was defining what are the big features that we need to have fully spec'd, how is it going to work really from bringing it over from a legacy system into Shopify system, and then also making sure that we can test this stuff end to end. So we have multiple fulfillment partners, personalization partners that sit in multiple markets as well. So you're juggling kind of 10 different things. And doing it on quite a tight timeline. I think we signed an agreement with you this time last year, and we said we've got 7 months to go figure this out. Let's make it happen. So it would have been pressured enough, even if we had the luxury of time. But with the time squeeze in place as well, was a pretty big challenge.
And are there things like from moving? From the moment you moved, where you saw this is actually optimized compared to what we did previously, either in terms of the amount of systems which were minimized or the efficiency overall? I
think efficiency really comes from us in two areas. One is our back end. So I think by moving over to Shopify, we've also been able to build capability around it. We have brought in people who understand those systems incredibly well, whereas with the custom build, you're always having to onboard people into a new environment.
Yep.
So again, we've only launched, our biggest store launched a month ago, the Netherlands, and we're still onboarding and we're still learning those things, but that ramp-up process is a lot quicker.
Yep.
And then the second piece for us is really making sure now that as we expand and as we grow, we can grow into Shopify's new features. We're not having to rebuild all of this stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's a big focus now over the next year, making sure that we migrate all the stuff that we want, and then we can also build on top with the stuff that Shopify is now offering.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is like you can piggyback on the feature train of Shopify, but you're still able to bolt on and build custom features which are needed for personalization, for example.
Exactly. And I won't go into the numbers, but a good 80% of our budget towards the end of our custom build was just going towards, 70% was going towards just maintaining the platform. And that was slowing us down. We were no longer able to keep up with just standard features that you would get in market. So that's a big area that we've also focused on as we moved over. How do we make sure that we're incorporating all of those things as well?
And if we talk about personalization, how do you think that has become easier or better to roll out with the new technology?
I wouldn't say it's as specific as it's become easier. I think we're still using so the personalization tool, or the story around that's quite interesting. It started, again, like I said, 10 years ago. Somebody in Tony's had a great idea that customizing these bars would be a pretty novel and great idea. Let's go test it out. And my understanding is that the first year was really like, somebody's printing it out, they're putting it in a block, they're having to wrap this thing up. It's like the opposite of scale. And over the last few years, we've built personalization with both our partners who are doing the print and the repacking work, but also the functionality that we've got online. So new wrapper creator, new tooling for people to be able to personalize themselves. But there's this whole kind of small industry that's been built out of this personalization tool as well. So to do one bar or to do 1 million bars at different prints for us doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can scale almost infinitely. I think it just depends how many wrappers we can get through a printer at one time. But that infrastructure was actually built. It was part of the HP Innovation Print Lab to have that system built, and is now being rolled out to multiple partners as part of the HP Innovation Lab. And that started from a small idea, a humble idea of somebody at Tony's.
Oh, that's nice. So you were the source of the inspiration for
I
HP.
wasn't the source.
Yeah,
It's very much somebody else. But yeah, there was, like I said, what started with a manual process has now just become this beast of a personalization business that allows us to roll out to markets quickly. We have the technical infrastructure to do it. We can work with several partners depending on where we are in the world to be able to personalize. Yeah.
And so personalization of the wrapper is happening online?
Yes.
But I know offline you can even build your own bar.
Yeah, if
get the
you're
ingredients in Amsterdam.
So anybody who's flown in, so I'm assuming there's a lot of people from Amsterdam who've probably been there, but for those that have flown in, small advertisement break. We have a store in town. You can Google Maps it, and you can create your own bar there. But we're talking, the confiture itself, so dark milk, white chocolate. You can put in all these different inclusions. It's a cool experience, and you see it all being made in front of you. So if you've got time, go check it out.
Are they already on Shopify POS?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I'm looking over to Faker at the moment. So Faker runs our IT business. At some point, I think we will consider, but we've alluded to it. It's been a challenging year already, and I think stretching to POS was one stretch too far.
And are there any more stores coming up? Can you still hear me? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No. The fast answer to that is no. We might have some travel retail stores, but at the moment we've got our store in Amsterdam, and we're focusing on that store at the moment.
Yeah. And like centralizing or combining different IT systems to facilitate your commerce, have it made? Okay.
Just to be sure.
Great.
Check. Yeah.
So now you have your commerce system combined.
Yes.
Does it also increase the quality of your data, and how do you use the data to make decisions?
Yeah, again, the big thing, or the biggest switch for us here is our custom platform had a lifespan, and it worked incredibly well for us to an extent. The big switch that we're making now, or the biggest switch that we can make, is our access to data is not just kind of held in multiple different systems. People in market can access that data much more readily. People can make decisions around the data that they're seeing in one platform. And it means that we don't need a ton of data experts in the business to mine for the insights. It's there, it's ready to see. So I'm excited this year to really explore how far can we push it, what are teams able to access that they couldn't before, and how can we actually start making faster decisions.
And from the data, or the way how you expand globally and decide to open stores in new countries, I assume you use the data for that. Is there another strategy behind the expansion of opening new stores in certain countries?
No, it's the wrong assumption. We have really great growth momentum in some key markets. We call them golden markets. And those golden markets are pretty set for now. So the US, Germany, UK, and the Netherlands are our really big markets that we go after. If you become a golden market, and they are markets that have momentum, are being built, we apply all of the marketing that has built our current golden markets, and that includes also launching a web shop and launching personalized as well. So it comes as a package as we start to bring new markets online. But it's very much led from our retail business. Yeah.
Based on the retail experience you have in the market, you decide to open a store to also facilitate the online sales.
It'll be more based on how much momentum do we have in a market, how much awareness is that market, or how much awareness of Tony's is in that market, what is the distribution like, and at that point we start to just invest more from a total company level. So we will put boots on ground, have marketing teams, as well as giving them the tooling to be able to sell online.
And the country-specific teams, do they all operate from your office here in the Houthavens, or how's that structured?
No, so we've got a split. We've got a core team that works in Houthavens, so we have we call it a home base, and they are responsible for making sure that our merchandising, our site looks great. We've got a great, strong roadmap in place to develop against. And then we have amazing teams in market that are there to actually execute. So they're working in Shopify, in the systems, day in, day out, making sure that we look great, making sure that we have all of the stuff that our customers expect from an experience perspective. And that's a really close collaboration between the team that we have in Homebase and the local markets.
And I'm also curious to hear, you're scaling quite rapidly, but there are obviously constraints. What are the most important constraints for Tony's and the business to scale rapidly? Just like what you told about Mr. Beast, doubling the volume of chocolate which needs to be produced.
Yeah, I mean, you say it there. I think for those who follow commodity prices, which I assume is very few people here, chocolate's had a really tough year. There's been terrible yields. We are seeing the effect of climate change impacting how cocoa is, or the efficiency of cocoa. So this year for Tony's has been incredibly volatile just from a cocoa perspective. So in the short term, it's stabilizing our supply chain, making sure that we work and continue to work with amazing partners in West Africa. And then I think moving on from that, we are in a really fortunate position that we have momentum behind the brand. And the key word there is focus. And there's so many different opportunities for us to go after, both online, in-store, from a brand perspective. The big key word for us at the moment is focus. Ensure we're focusing, make sure we keep focusing on our big jewels, be it personalized, be it big, bold messaging from a brand perspective. Because the good side of growth is it's fast momentum, but it also comes with its own challenges as well.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I think good insight, focus. I agree that something for any business, most important, what is sometimes forgotten.
Easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking forward, I think when we start the talks and like discovering what Tony's needed, you made a plan for the coming 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
How do you look at the future of Tony's online, and what do you think are important innovations you would like to bring to the market, if you can already share them?
That's a secret. No. So we're looking to go big on personalized. I think that's no secret. We're at the start of that. We do our personalized 180-gram bars, and I think you'll start seeing more personalization across our full portfolio. So that's a big area that we're focusing on now. We're not quite there yet, and we're not ready to launch a ton of new products, but that's where we'll continue to innovate. It's fair to say, and again, this is kind of pre my time, that personalization tool was really ahead of the market, and what we're seeing is the market's catching up. So you've got Oreo's ID, you've got M&M's that are doing personalization. So if we sit here resting our laurels, we're going to get eaten up by competition. So it's about making sure we stay ahead. We did that with our personalization 1.0, or we're probably on 2.0 now, and it's what does the future of that look like for us? So we'll be testing some stuff this year, like AI wrapper creators. So, put in your prompt and the wrapper gets created for you, and testing a couple of other things in that direction. And then we'll also be expanding out to other channels. So outside of, let's say, our D2C, B2B reseller strategy, a little bit to the piece about playing to where your customers are. Amazon is also a big focus for us. We see a lot of growth potential there. We see a lot of momentum there, and it's often kind of feels like a dirty word to be saying you're selling on Amazon, but if you want to make impact, you have to be where your customers are. And if you want to be arrogant about that, well, unfortunately, that comes at the cost of growth as well. So we're trying to make the right decisions there, but it will be a big year for us on Amazon in quite a few markets.
Interesting. Thanks for your time today, Mark.
Not at all. Thank you very much for having us.
And I think we still have some time for questions. How do you want to do this? Yeah.
Microphone's not working right now, but your microphone is working again.
Ah, nice.
So I'm going to take your microphone if I can.
Yeah.
Who has questions here for Mark? Mark, I'm going to ask the question on everyone's mind first.
Yes.
Did you bring chocolate to the event?
I think you guys brought chocolate to the event. Is that right?
I hope so.
I think so.
I hope so as well.
It's funny. It did come by me. I think there is yes. The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Okay. Who has a question for Mark? Yes, on the first row. Could you stand up and say your name and what company you work for?
Hi, Mark. Thanks for the interesting talk. My name is Roos Marijn. I'm from Charlotte de Komen Jewelry, a Dutch jewelry brand. I was wondering, because...
You actually made my wedding ring, just so you know.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
There we
Sorry.
go.
How cool is this?
Recognize you
And my
in
wife's
setting.
engagement ring as well. So there you go.
Oh, really cool. Oh, that's
Incredible.
That's
This
an
was not
incredible
scripted,
coincidence.
Huh?
Yeah.
Not scripted, no.
I was really wondering about Tony Chocolonely. Your brand promise is transparency and like having an ethical supply chain. And are you also planning to build something online in your web shop for customers to have more insight in the supply chain and how that go and like
Yes.
what is the origin of the cocoa?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. There's a whole project going on around that at the moment. I'm kind of looking over to Faker, who I work with. The full open chain business will be launching a new website soon, and that will be on the journey to making that full process even more transparent than it is today. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. I saw another question over there. Hi.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Bert. I'm with Voyado. My question is surrounding, like, you talked about how your competitors are coming for you when it comes to personalization, but I think if I look at the chocolate market, like, I think the biggest differentiator between you and everyone else is that your willingness to go down the route of full transparency, and so they can go down the route of saying we will also do personalization, but are they willing to go down the route of actually having the transparent chain? And if that's it, is it more about talking to your customer about what's more important to you, this personalization, or also feeling good about also having good and also good tasting chocolate?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think there's a subset of customers that buy from us because they buy knowing the mission and they want to be part of that mission and value the brand. I think in order for us to really go at scale, you also have to think about that percentage that don't necessarily think ethical first, or they're not thinking about your brand mission. So for us, having products that fit all price points, having products that can be at big events, small events, a family Christmas, all the way up to kind of a big event like this is where we say, how do we push personalize and how do we make sure we have a product that meets each occasion? And what we're finding is our competitors are getting to all of the occasions, whereas we're kind of limited at a 180 gram bar at the moment. So for us, it's saying, how do we get our portfolio into a place where actually it works across a broad spectrum, and then we continue to push on the messaging as our kind of push into market as well.
Thank you. There's a question over there. Can you stand up? Yep.
Hi, Ben from Shopify. You said that you were spending 70 to 80% of your budget on maintenance on your custom stack. I know it's early days, but do you have a view on what that's going to be going forward from what you've seen so far?
I hope you can tell me.
No, well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm intrigued because it's not just Shopify in the mix, right?
No, well, look, we I think we're already speaking to a few people at Shopify. I will say right now I don't have access to the full stats, but we would love to keep that conversation open with you guys and be transparent on where are we getting value, what are the things that we're spending less time on, where might be we spending a little bit more time as well. It's not all going to be perfect, but the big thing for us is we are focusing less on keeping the site alive, and we are now able to focus more on innovation and thinking a little bit more forward. And that's the big gap for us at the moment. But I would love to keep that conversation open. Yeah.
Thank you. We have room for one more question. Otherwise, my question... Oh, they're over there. Yep. I'm coming towards you. Ooh, I have a... Ooh. It didn't fall. Here.
I'm Sam from Atelier Monroe.
Hi.
Hey, you say personalization is a big part of the brand, and Tony's is very recognizable on the inside. But bringing on Aldi as a partner for Open Chain, I feel like a lot of the brand has been lost by their bar shape. Is there like a conversation on how much of the brand you're willing to give up for the sake of the cause?
Is that the Aldi bar that looks similar to? Do you know what? I'm going to cop out here and say I don't have full context on that specific question. But what I will say is there is always, when you're talking about personalization and you're talking about things like opening up your supply chain, which should be an asset to most organizations, and you're just kind of giving it to everyone, there is always a tension to say how much do you give away and how much do you keep. But we have one steadfast commitment here, which is we want to end the issues that we're seeing in supply chain, and we cannot do that on our own. So from that perspective, we're steadfast, and Open Chain will always be a big part of, will be a central part of Tony's. From a personalization point of view and how people customize the outside look and feel, I have regular conversations with marketing, and some of them are positive and some of them aren't so positive. But it is as we grow, we want to make sure that personalization happens in a way that we can track. We're not getting random prints on the front of bars, and that we're working with great organizations to do it. So it is front of mind.
Thank you. Mark, one last advice to the audience, if you could give one that you want to...
You should have asked me that before, so I could have thought about it. No, I am going to be quite boring, and I'm going to say the biggest thing and the biggest change that we're trying to make at the moment is to focus. And there is so much to go after online. There are so many different things that you can do. And if you don't focus on your core, and like I said, for us, our core is personalized, you run the risk of diluting that. And to be frank, the last couple of years, there might have been a bit of that dilution. So we're going back into focus mode. And that's both exciting, but should also lead to some pretty cool innovations.
Perfect. Focus. Thank you so much, Martijn and Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. And we are going to take a short break. I think it's 10 to 11. The next sessions are starting at 11. You can choose from 3 sessions. Here on the main stage, we'll be hearing from Pink Gel Lock, the nail polish, and Shopify about how Pink is scaling globally and what the challenges are that they're meeting in this expansion. If I can just have 30 seconds to explain the next sessions. In the innovation room, guys, I'm explaining the next 2 sessions. Give me 30 seconds. In the innovation room, Klaviyo will host a product session. Tips and tricks on how to maximize your Q4 efforts in the last part of this year. And in the growth room, Bounceware and Reviews.io will discuss how Bounceware built a fast-scaling sports fashion business through reviews and customer loyalty. So we're taking a 10-minute break. Everything starts again at 11. Please join me in another round of applause for Martijn and Mark.